Hi everyone, and welcome to Human Design 101. I'm Paula Fehrmann, your host, qualified life trust coach and human design fanatic. I guide my clients to become their own experts by understanding and, more importantly, living their design. When I first came to human design, I was so overwhelmed by the triangles, squares, arrows, and numbers in the chart that I didn't touch it for more than a year. However, my human design experiment has been the most important transformation in my life, which is why I want to show you how you can use your design as a simple tool to heal, transform, integrate, grow, and ultimately become your own expert. No more looking for the experts outside of you. Keep listening and learning here on the podcast, reach out for private coaching, or book a chart reading with me. Let's talk Human Design 101. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the pod. We have another episode of Accept and Reflect with Leah and Paula. So I'm sitting here with Leah Cristin today. Hi, Leah. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing amazing. And you?
Oh, same. I am so happy to be here with you. It's so exciting. It's been such a big month, and I can't wait to hear what we're getting into this month. Basically, we kind of walked besides one another this month and shared everything as it was happening in real time. So let's try and distill it down for our listeners because September has been big. And I'm sure if you're listening, it has been for you too. And maybe you can even pick up on some of the lessons that we had and apply them directly to your life. Maybe you're seeing that you're going through something really similar, and hopefully that makes you feel like, not like, oh my God, what is happening? But yes, I'm on track. This is a collective thing and we're all doing it together. So let's start out, Leah, by me asking you, what has happened for you last month? What stood out? What were the lessons? What do you want to share?
Before I start, I want to share this analogy from this meme that I saw the other day, or I think it was a TikTok video of guys making fun about girls because they're like constantly messaging and talking, and then they're meeting up to chat. That's basically us. Because we talk all day and then we still have more to talk about. But yeah, that's
It's just like, I think I've asked you this before, but do you know the book Men Are From Women and No, Men Are From Mars and Venus. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. It's kind of old school, but what they talk about is that men, to solve their problems, they go into their cave and then they come out when they have a solution. And women, they go to huddle up with other women and they talk things through and they process. And that is just really true for me. Like, communicate with me, speak to me, talk to me, and you're gonna give me a good time.
Yes, I agree. I have a bit of both, but I do need to talk about things as well. Yeah. So, I think last time we talked, we were probably talking about dating, love, relationships, which I feel was very much the topic of last month. Actually, we're still in September, but we're in Libra season, so I feel like it's a bit more harmonious. The first part of last month, or like let's say beginning of Virgo season, so end of August, the theme was about correction, about, for me, very heavily, which I usually don't have that much, like a lot of mental energy. And the quality of thoughts was like, they were trying to get me down. Like, no, I'm not. I don't want to have you in my head. So self-criticizing, which is like very Virgo themes, like just analyzing what can be perfected, what can be corrected, and all in regards to self-image, which then bleeds into relationships. Because if you have a shitty self-image, that shows up in the quality of your relationships. So I feel like the last month, so let's say from start of Virgo season, so end of August to and yeah, the whole of Virgo season, my big life theme, the theme that is always coming up in every area of my life. Every time I hit a rock bottom, it's because of that topic. And I feel like we all got like you listening know what came up for you. For you, something also Paula, for you, something else came up. For me, was very big on um the stage is always relationships, but then the way that I'm finding balance again is by not leaning into more into the relationship, but leaning into my foundation and my career and my desires and ambitions. And that's how I'm bringing in balance. And it's so telling because I have my South Node in the fourth house in Cancer. So I'm very comfortable being, like with family, with friends, like nurturing either I'm nurturing or they're nurturing me and just staying in this little cabin of safety from like familiar backgrounds. But my journey in this life is to step out into the world and be responsible and have my own back and my own stability. And that often, because it's in the 10th house, like it's coming through career and my ambitions. So I got a big like flashback of, okay, you can now like go back into your pity stories of the past and like want to hide in a relationship. But the universe was basically like, that option is no longer there. We're going to pull it away. So you have no other choice but to actually step up. And I feel like it worked.
Did you feel that this was like a new layer or a new repetition of the themes that you were experiencing in March? Because for the listeners, this was like an eclipse season, and we had the, I guess, partner eclipse is what I'll call it in layman's terms, around in March. And so when I looked back and looked into my journal, the themes and topics that I was writing about were exactly the same thing, just on like, I want to say a higher level, like more integration. So I was really happy to see that I had in fact made some progress, even though even though sometimes when you're like in the whirlwind of it, it feels a little bit like, oh my God, what's going on? But that was a really good reality check for me. Did you find the same?
Yeah, now that you say it, actually, yes. Yeah, it started around March and then it dragged all the way out to June, July, where it kind of peaked and then it kind of ended in August. And then I grieved and processed. Yeah, and I feel really newborn. Yeah, what when it came up for you in March, were you aware that this is like your life theme or no?
No, I wasn't. Back in March,
Me neither.
yeah, I was dating a guy, and we met just before Christmas, I think. And my life stories are always like, I was dating this person. I saw this guy, which is funny because I used to be in relationships for like the biggest part of my life. But now the learning all happens in like dating, and the refinement happens in me showing up differently in relationships, which is so fun. Like I've made such big progress. I'm really proud of myself. But anyway, I was seeing this guy and he was triggering me in a way that what he had presented to me in the beginning, like he had invited me to like crazy dates, like dropped a lot of money on the things that we did together, was trying to impress me. And then when we were seeing each other, it kind of all the effort dropped, and I found myself being the only person investing into the relationship, which to me is like, I love that. I love nurturing my friends, my family, the people that I'm seeing. But it needs to be balanced. And I found myself like spiraling around, what does this mean? He actually is so hilarious because there was something going on in his life where he just out of the blue didn't message me for 3 days, even though at this point we were girlfriend, boyfriend. And I was like, you cannot, this is just, me is not okay. And instead of apologizing, he kind of justified it and was like, I was just not in the place, blah, blah, blah. And it was this pattern of the other person strongly being themselves and then me not so strongly being myself in the reaction. It's my pattern of being overly understandable, being kind of, I don't like to call it self-abandonment, but like sacrificing my needs in order to keep the bond going. And spiraling before that happened, spiraling and like, oh my God, what does it mean? Why hasn't he messaged me? Why isn't he not replying? Blah, 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 blah. And so then going back to this time around, I am already so much closer to, oh, I don't know what's going on for them, but it's got nothing to do with me. Um, I can communicate, hey, look, I really enjoy connecting. Like to me, that is like playful, fun time connecting with you over text and in person. And if you don't like that, that's fine, but then we might not be a good match. And yeah, seeing how different I'm handling it, how closer I am to myself, how I was able to drop the like blame on the other person and this idea that they need to be different. And I more view it as a like sifting through people to eventually get to someone I feel like I'm a good match with. So yeah, I'm really happy. But I didn't realize that that was my life theme. No, you brought that to me.
Mm. I mean, back in March, I didn't realize it either that much, but it became so clear coming like Mercury retrograde, August, and now after the integration. So if you're listening to this, a really nice way of going back to the past, if you don't remember, because I personally, if someone says, "Oh, this was summer 21," I'm like, I have no clue what I did there. I go to my phone and I type in March, and then I see the pictures that are coming up. And for me personally, like if I look at pictures, I know how I felt, I know what I thought, I know where I was at, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, wherever. um, and that helps to reflect, okay, what was happening? What were the circumstances? And how did I react to them? And then going back to, for me, it started in June, July, like August. Just go through your summer a little bit, and then see, okay, what actually happened, what themes were coming up, and this is a really cool way of finding out what you came to learn in this lifetime, without looking at your human design chart, without looking at your astro chart. Um, I believe that we can already get so much information just from the topics that are coming up. Um, and so it's so interesting. And I mean, maybe we want to talk a little bit about how we integrated that and how we used it to up level, because Paula and I, we do a lot to feel mentally stable.
Let's not call it that. I don't want to call it that because it's like
No.
it's
We do a lot to feel good in our bodies.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like vibration hygiene or internal statement hygiene or something like that because it's not really about feeling good all the time, but it's about how
Mm-mm.
handling when you don't feel good. And personally, I feel like after going down, there's always new amazing things popping up in life. Like when I go into the deep and dark for like 20 minutes or an hour or a day or two, it's like there's a new opening of light after that. So yeah, let's make it really practical. What comes to mind when I ask you about what were some of the tools that you used over the last few months to up level? You, by the way, yesterday you posted an Instagram story where you shared about, the new beauty products that you're using, which if you're watching on YouTube, looks amazing. And then you said, and by the way, sorry, if you want to glow up, you need to glow up from the inside as well, because if you have shitty thoughts about yourself, or if you're feeling shitty on the inside, it will be reflected on the outside. And I think this is like a really nice umbrella to, um, or like the playground to have this discussion on.
Yes, I agree. Because I think that's what we in essence did. So do you maybe want to start? Okay, let's say your topic was staying connected to your identity within relationships. Let's say that was your thing and your life theme. How did you go about it, like, practically? Like, first, obviously, you were like, "Oh, dang, I thought I had healed this. Maybe there's more to unpack." I feel like there's first, like, a moment of grief of like, "Oh, man, I thought I was better than this." And then you take it from there. So what's your process?
Yeah, actually, with my gate 32, as one of my main gates, there is often this first moment of like, oh, why am I here? I thought I was better than this already. I thought this wasn't a mistake that I wanted to make again. And then I get to a place where I see the opportunities that are kind of related to this mistake and what can grow out of it. But let's make it super practical. So, um, oh man.
And honest. That's
You're so vulnerable, but here we go. You guys love a good story, right? So, um, I got we know that I got invited to spend some time with a guy in France after not knowing him for very long, and this is like a pattern for me. People do this, and I'll jump on and like, yeah, it's gonna be so fun, and this is like this 0 or 100 pattern that I kind of uncovered over the last few months, realizing that I'm either like 100% in, maybe a little bit too quick, or when someone isn't meeting my expectations, I'm like 100% out, being like, you are not good enough. This is not okay. Bye bye. So either like heart open, maybe a little bit too open, or ice queen. No, thank you. No access. And what I did this time was like, okay, came back from France, realized that this dude wasn't really showing up like I wanted him to show up, or like he was perfectly fine being himself, but it wasn't really meeting my need of, playful connection, of keeping things alive, which is what I need in order to want to see him again. And so first of all, I realized, I was like, oh, dang. I realized that my normal pattern would have been to stay quiet or like close the connection. And you reflected to me like, oh, I think you're trying to be the cool girl. You're trying to pretend that this isn't bothering you at all. But how would you be able to speak up about it coming from like a really honest but sovereign place? And we went a little bit back and forth. And then I was like, I guess if I was being really honest, I would just say, look, this is what I enjoy doing. This is how I connect with people. It's totally cool if you don't want that, but I direct my attention towards people who kind of enjoy that the same way I do, because why would I stay in something that where I feel like there's no mutuality? And so if you want to see me again, you can meet me there, and if not, that's also really fine. And it came really from a place of, well, it came from like calm and ease and no drama, no resentment, no blame. Um, but this is because I waited out. Like I didn't react when I was feeling triggered. I didn't listen to the stories that came up, or I corrected the stories that came up. Speaking to you about it when he was like not sending me messages, and oh God. And I was like, what does this mean about me? It does not mean anything about me. It's just telling me something about him. And what do I need in order to feel good here? And sometimes that means like putting him into archive and putting him out of mind. And sometimes that means communicating in a way that feels natural to me. And this is like the Libra graceful thing about me, I think, that I had missed before. This like, okay, how can I, because I can be quite fiery in communication. I can be quite pokey. This is my Aries in the seventh house. And coming back to this, nah, I'm cool. This is what I want. I know my value, and if this isn't a good match, then that's fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, so in essence, not shying away from speaking what you need out of fear for coming across as too needy, too clingy, whatever, because if you don't show who you are, you don't give the other person the chance to see if you guys are a match. And also, and this is, I mean, it's often easier said than done, but the sooner you show who you are, the sooner you will find out if you're actually wasting your time or if this could go somewhere. And I think that's the growth edge that you leaned into. You're like, okay, what's comfortable? What's the thing that I always did? Shutting down or pretending nothing happened, like everything is cool. What But I want to be all of myself and not lose my identity in connection. So how can I move closer to that version of me? And then you were like, okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say, hey, but not with anger, not with resentment. This is how I work. This is what I would need. Um, it's out there. You're free to do whatever you want with that. But yeah, if nothing changes, then for me, I'm gonna withdraw because there's no point in investing in something that doesn't make me feel nurtured.
Yeah. And like the main factor around this, I think, is it's not so much to me anymore about wasting my time. And this is also like a big learning. I'm like, I'm taking all of the pressure off. For me, it's now just about having fun. There's no goals. There's no like, oh, I need to find my person. There's no, I mean, obviously, I want to make sure that I'm respectful and the people I'm meeting are respectful. But the the intention of connecting is to have a good time. And that took off the pressure of, but if I speak up, I might lose them. I'm like, okay, it's okay if you quote unquote lose them because, like, why not? There's so many other people out there who want to connect with you. And this just feels really fun and light to me. And it does feel like playful practice, which I'm really grateful about because in March, it did not feel like playful practice. It felt like live or die.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're in the terror zone of like nervous system, when you have a car and it's just blinking like a Christmas tree, like a check engine light is on and you're like, ah,
What do I
that
do? Help!
I feel like that's how it feels in the beginning when you're like transitioning from an old pattern into a new behavior and integrating it. But now it's been, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and you're like, okay, it's maybe still a little bit like, he, shall I do it? But there's no option not to do it anymore,
Mm-hmm,
as it was before.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's just a huge progress.
Yes. And so, guys, this is what we do. We celebrate ourselves and we acknowledge when we're proud of ourselves because this is positive reinforcement. And looking at how far you've come is going to make sure that you're progressing into the same direction. But enough of me for now. I want to hear a little bit about you. Um, yeah, where should we start? Do you want to tell the listeners what? I mean, you've kind of dabbled into the growth edge area of your space, but you want to make it a little more practical and tell us what it was about.
Yes. So, um, where do I start? I have, n- I mean, recently or not recently, but I came out of a longer relationship, and one of the things that I realized that I learned was that I um felt safe to keep my heart open and actually really say what I feel. I mean, we are quite similar in that sense. And not shut my heart down and pretend like, oh no, I don't care, or show up with anger because actually I am hurt, but I'm not addressing what's actually underneath. And then I was like, but I feel weak for feeling so much and I don't want this. Like, what if I stay open and I'm just like an emotional wreck all the time? Like, I don't want that either. So how can I be emotionally open with boundaries? And so one of my old patterns was, and this is in regards also to my Chiron, is that I if I'm open, I'm like so open and so giving and so caring. So what I practiced this month was, for example, if someone would reply to me, I would check in like, yeah, I'm super excited to connect with them, but have I like done my maintenance? Like, have I done my meditation? Is there something else that I should do to maintain my center and to not like lose myself in the other or get too distracted with the relationship, the excitement? But what is my goal for the day? How do I want to feel? And did I do something for that first before I'm giving to someone else? Um, that's something that I've been practicing a lot. And then in addition to that, just saying what I feel in the moment. So, for example, if I would be messaging with someone and, like, let's say it's a guy, let's just pretend it's a guy. and then I would be, he would do something or say something that I would really appreciate. Then past self would be, okay, I noticed this is really nice, but I'm not going to give away how much that means to me and how important that is. For example, if someone just tells me, hey, I'm going to be whatever, let's say you're messaging and it's like ping pong, and then all of a sudden this person disappears. I really appreciate it when my potential partner then says, "Hey, just so you know, I'm in the car for like whatever, like I'm gonna be back," and then that just makes me feel safe. And then this particular person that did that, and I was like, I want to acknowledge that because I want to reinforce this communication. Like, thank you. That's very considerate of you. Not pretending that I'm so cold, like I'm so independent, I don't need this. Um, or like saying things like, it was really nice talking to you. And not because I think in the past I would pretend to be so, I don't need anyone, I don't need anyone's affection. It's total bullshit. I'm I'm very sensitive. I need a lot of love and caring and adoration. Why am I hiding this side of me? So if I want to attract a partner that that makes me feel like warm and fuzzy and cared for, and like I can't pretend that I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my theme. So balancing out the ice queen image with the what who I actually am,
Mm-hmm.
and just giving words to what I'm sensing and feeling instead of just being like, but acknowledging, hey, thank you so much. That makes me feel really safe. And for me, it's like you did an Akashic Records reading, and you told me about it. I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. I want that too. And she also reflected back to me like the themes of my relationships. It's the big theme of my life is to find a balance, like to experience what it means to want something and then have it, but also what it means to want something and not have it. Can you still stay open? Can you still stay nice and not be the kid throwing the toys out of the pram because you're not getting the lollipop?
Yeah.
What what character do you want to be? And then staying consistently in that.
Yeah, and I think this kind of points to a bunch of tools that both of us love, which is Abraham Hicks and Kabbalah. In Kabbalah, they always speak about desire and wants, but rejection of the need to have it. So can we be like, yeah, I desire whatever it is, connection. I desire this next step in my career. I desire to make X amount of money. I desire to have a family, whatever it is. And then know that, but I'm happy if I don't get it anyway, because I am already whole myself. Um, And getting to a place, and Abraham Hicks speaks about something very similar, where they're like, you need to see it before. No, wait. The usual say would be like, I believe it when I see it. And then she flips it around to, I see it when I believe it. Meaning, you get yourself into the feeling state of what you want, and you enjoy the ride there, not because you know that it will get you there, but just because it feels good to feel good in the moment. And that's exactly it. Like, yeah, it feels so nice, this idea of like, whatever, calling in your future partner, but it also feels really nice every step of the way, like messaging people and, you know, talking to your girlfriends about it, or going on a date, or let's step away from the relationship theme, even though we all know I love it. When let's say you want to build like more strength in your body or more flexibility, like, can you be in a state where you're looking at the future and like, this is what I desire, but my body is amazing the way it is right now, and I make an effort to feel that and to love it and to nurture it and to touch it and to massage it and to dance with it and to appreciate it in the mirror and to look at the things that I already love about it. Because if you're moving from this state of like, oh, I hate what I have, I think accidentally you just make more of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's about shifting your perspective to see
The hope, haha.
the hope. Yeah. But also the just accepting what is. Okay, right now, maybe I don't have a partner, maybe I don't have the career, maybe I don't have the body. But how can I find the beautiful sides, or how can I find aspects about where I'm at right now that I do like? And then slowly, step by step, you're working your way up to, actually, I really enjoy where I'm at. I like who I spend time with. Obviously, you can make changes if that's not the case. But then eventually you will notice that you're you're not focusing on the goal anymore, but on being and enjoying. And then the journey, I don't even want to call it the journey to getting it, because then it sounds like this is the point of it. The point of it is to be happy with your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're always chasing something in the future and say, oh, if I have that, then I'll be happy, then you're always going to feel like you're missing something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's just super interesting. And like that we talked about this before. That's why you do psychic readings, to enjoy the present moment and to trust and to surrender. That's why you have sessions with people, or maybe whatever it is that you need, um, just give yourself that. And we both had this Akashic Records reading, which was, to me, it was like really insightful and helpful. I also had sessions with other people. I had a session yesterday with my sister who did hypnotherapy on also like a self-worth topic, um, centered around receiving, which is why I tend to overgive so much, because I feel like I need to compensate something. And it's like, when you see people maybe, let's say, come out of a relationship and then I have a new relationship. I cannot speak for everyone, but if you see me back in a relationship, it's not because I was sitting on the couch twisting my thumbs. It was like heavy internal grinding going on, mindsets, rearrangements, and things like that. And that's basically the work to getting the life that you want.
But I want to ask you, because I totally agree with you, and you know this. Like, we're doing a lot of work for where we want to go and who we want to be. But there has been a really big shift for me this year, because I feel like, yeah, I started this inner work. How old am I? Turning 29. Probably when I was like, I don't know, 19 or something. So 10 years of that. And I would say the bunch of that was fueled by the belief that something is wrong with me and I need to fix it. just felt terrible, to be honest. It just felt terrible. It felt like, oh my God, got it wrong again. How am I still like this? How can I get to this place? Blah, blah, blah. And I was also taking on a lot of the things that I was seeing on the outside, like Instagram, the like classical healing one-on-one. This is how you need to be, blah, blah, blah. And when it shifted, this process actually became really fun. Like I am now enjoying this because it feels good to do it, not uh, because I'm doing anything from a state of lack or having to compensate for something. Um, and I think that's what makes it fun. And I also give myself permission to step away from any modalities that don't feel fun anymore or don't feel good. Like, for example, I used to do a lot of EMDR therapy because my mom is an EMDR therapist. And after a while, I realized it's just regurgitating these old stories that I don't even know whether they're true. I don't even like, I'm like, is this my subconscious or am I making this up? And I'm like, heavily processing heavy emotions like on a monthly or weekly basis when, mm, yeah, when I want to walk towards something else. And now I pick different modalities. Like, for example, tonight I have a session with a guy who does something called integrated awareness, and it helps my body process emotions without having the stories. And then I'm good after I walk out and I feel really light. But I wanted to ask you something. Um, let's see. I've now lost the question. It was about, oh yeah, something really practical. Your like favorite modalities, free and paid. Like something that anyone can do that you're recently loving, and then something maybe that not any. I mean, no, I don't want to say it like this, but
Yeah.
something accessible and something just that you're loving.
First of all, I totally agree with you. I don't believe we have to heal constantly. I said this because you will know if something needs to be addressed. If you're happy, peppy, everything, life is flowing and grooving, enjoy your life. Everyone has to assess where they're at in life, how much support they need, how much focus these feelings need, and based on that, they can make their decision. But totally, the goal of life is to enjoy it, not to constantly heal. But if you can't enjoy it, then
Yeah.
and maybe there's some work to do. Um, One of my favorite tools to that is totally free. It might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's very powerful. Is to um, tune into what's alive inside of you. Like, for example, I always say when you're talking to people, listen with your body. Does your body contract or is it calm? Like, how do you feel? And if it contracts, does the contraction stay there or do you anchor it in with a story? And then where do you feel it in your body? And can you then go there and ask that contraction, that tension in your body, what it needs? And then just having a conversation with that, closing your eyes. And then I think I told you this, that my sister did this with me, that I had like so much heart pain and such a heavy heart. And it felt like I had a brick on my chest. And she just told me, can you go in? I was judging it so hard. I'm like, I don't want the brick to be there. I don't want to feel like that. I feel um unworthy. I feel like, I don't know, like a loser or whatever it is. And instead of pushing it away, what makes you feel uncomfortable in your body, going in and actually having a conversation. Like very, very simple. When you have your taxes and you're scared of the taxes and you don't do them, you keep getting letters, and then maybe the taxes just like the amount just piles up. What is it that you do? If you can't do it alone, you get help from maybe a tax advisor, and then you sit down together and you tackle it. And that's basically what you can do with uncomfortable feelings as well. You go in and you're like, hey, yeah, I noticed you've been here for a while. What actually do you need? And for me, then always visuals pop up, um, and then I give that, like that feeling what it needs. So that I think for a free tool is super helpful. And then paid. I mean, if you can afford to talk to people that really see you, that can maybe give you whatever it is that you need in the moment. I like going to people that can reassure me that everything's gonna be fine. Most of the time, I don't need like super harsh truths because I'm already super harsh to myself. So what I need is like a comfort blankie or like some love and encouragement. So you pick the people wisely, or maybe you want to feel different and you notice that a pattern is always coming up back up. Like hypnotherapy is really good for that. As you also said, the EMDR for me sometimes is a bit too topical, like too extreme. I really like modalities where you're just going in and seeing what happens, and then you're going with the story, and whatever you need, you give that to yourself. And that's, yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, so
So,
like an element of self-sufficiency, because
yeah.
sometimes I feel like when we're already in a vulnerable state, we really need practitioners who remind us that, yeah, I'm going to help you to get there, but you're going to get there by yourself, instead of being like, oh, you're the guru, tell me what to do, and then I'm going to do it. Like there needs to be the element of sovereignty, especially for me, because like I said, I tend to get a little bit lost in relationships, or I used to do that. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's so different now.
What's your favorite free and pay tool? For me, it also always it changes.
Yeah, it change.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. It changes all the time. Well, free tool is talk to friends. Love talking to friends.
true.
People I trust and people who I see have, I wouldn't say authority in the topic that I am struggling with, but who have made steps into the right direction there. Um, that's that's important. Like, don't listen to, like, if you're wanting to change your job, don't listen to the person who always complains about it. Like, just make sure that they're aligned on the topic that you want to talk to them about. That's one of my favorite free tools, just to be seen, and to help me process. Then the next most important thing is, how do I say this? I have this situation, and maybe I can make it really practical with that example. I had this situation, I recently moved to Lisbon, and I had the moment where I was like, did I make a mistake? It's not actually what I thought it was going to be like. Will it work out in the way I wanted to work out? And again, my usual pattern is like, shit, I made a mistake. Now I need to do something dramatic to correct it. And then the magical moment was the acceptance of, okay, well, this is where we're at right now. This is the situation that you're in. Can we accept that this is what it's like, the feelings that it brings up, and can we use those feelings as guideposts? Can I use the fear of, will I be able to make it work? As in, okay, well, this is actually just pointing me into the amount of security that I need. This is just showing me like, okay, community and work are really important for me. And now I can focus on building that. Like what I feel is lacking right now, how can I build that here without having to go to a different place when I don't even know what that place is? So, how do I do this? Sometimes I talk to people, sometimes I sit down with ChatGPT and I feed ChatGPT transcripts of conversations with coaches that I enjoy, Abraham Hicks often, and then ask, like, very practically, Abraham Hicks speaks about the concept of upstream and downstream thoughts. Upstream is resistance. That would have been me in this situation, like, this is wrong, I have made a mistake. And the downstream thought would be, I am open to, um, I don't know, I know that I've found solutions before, and I'm open to seeing the situation shift with time or something like that. And I asked ChatGPT to like gently coach me through the process of turning the upstream into downstream thoughts. And that's something anyone can do. And it's so helpful because it kind of tackles the problem by the root. You're not like, you're actually checking what are the stories that I'm listening to right now? How do they make me feel? And how can I shift into something that feels more supportive? Because likely they're not true. They're just representative of your past conditioning. And obviously, like even what you shared with the contraction and expansion in the body, that's very true for me as well. Might not be true for you depending on, your design, but there are different patterns or tools that you can use depending on that. And paid, I don't know, anything body based really, like a massage. It doesn't even need to be so like internal, even though I loved the Akashic record reading. But I'm already quite a mental person. So anything that brings me, I mean, as a double air sign, anything that brings me back into the body is great for me. Like any form of workout, sometimes just like going shopping and looking at things that are beautiful. I just have this massive list of things that I love doing, and I'll pick something and um, kind of gently distract me. That's also a learning. Like distraction is a good thing. As long as you're not
Mm-hmm.
using it to ignore what's happening, distraction is actually a great coping mechanism.
I agree. I think everything with balance, there's no, oh, always do this and then it works, because the person that already tends to distract themselves, they need more of the honesty, and then vice versa. So you just have to assess, where are you at right now and what do you need to move more into balance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and it's interesting because I feel like ultimately we all want to get to a point where we can do that ourselves, but it's also okay if you don't know yet. And then you just ask someone for help that you trust. Yeah. What,
Yeah, I agree.
how should we round up this conversation? Is there anything that pops to mind? Any last questions, highlights, little bits of wisdom?
Hmm. I think, I mean, obviously, we reflected now on a lot that has been happening and how we're moving through the shift. So maybe if the listeners or you, I'm talking directly to you guys, if you're also going through something, how can you maybe bring some more acceptance into what is, into your situation, and then take it from there to see how it develops. And I know I had a lot of resistance around accepting, like, this is just how it is now. There is nothing to change. And then there's a lot of mental energy that's going around. Oh, but maybe I can change it. Maybe I can twist it. Maybe I can influence it or fix it. Can you, if you would know that everything that you want is coming, it's ordered, it's on the way, would you then still try to fix something you actually deep down know is like, it's over. It's
Yeah.
outdated.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, this like reminder of nothing's gone wrong here. Everything is working out, even the things that feel pretty uncomfortable. And this is just something that helps me. But I wanted to ask you, as you were speaking, I was like, it would be so fun to speak about what we want for the like next month. Like, what are you inviting? What are you desiring? What are you bringing in?
I think for me, it's finding a balance between my own desires and goals and pursuing that versus nurturing what already is. So finding the balance between creating the future and staying in the fruits of my labor, or the comfort zone, to not at one point have the past overrun everything, and then there's just the present moment in the past, but no progress.
So you're building future momentum, like
Yeah.
forward momentum, and you want to feel like you're taking big steps into the direction that you want to go in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you?
October is going to be so busy for me, but I am inviting grounded confidence. I feel like, I mean, that's already happening, but like anchoring that into every area of my life, because there are some where I, anchor into that quite easily, which is work, and then where it's more tricky, which is romantic relationships. I even don't want to say that anymore because it's not true anymore, but like consistency, like getting a rock star at it, let's call it that. And then I'm also inviting nourishing my body-based pleasure, but not in the like usual pleasure ways. So like maybe more summery pleasure vibes of like, oh, having drinks by the beach and, eating dessert, even though there will be loads of eating dessert, but more in a way of like, how can I be, okay, I'm noticing I'm standing more on my left foot. What would my right foot like? Could I massage it a little bit? Can I start implementing 2 minutes of breathing here and there again? Because I feel like those kind of habits that I used to be very consistent and good at have slipped with all the transition that I've gone through this year, the move, the settling into new cities, new home, new friends, new people. And so I want to reconnect with the things that I know make me feel good as like a kind boundary of my inner parent. They're like, yeah, we know it's easy to just sit in front of the TV at night, but actually, this also feels really good. So how about we do that 2 to 3 times a week? Yeah.
Nice. So almost like, the dopamine menu,
Yes.
but then for the physical body, like what's the menu for my body to feel good?
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really love chatting to you. As you know, I trust that this is super helpful for the people listening. Oops, I just lost an earring. And can't wait to sit with you here next month and hear how all these things have dropped in for us.
Thank you so much, Paula.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for being here today and listening along to Human Design One-on-One with me, your host, Paula Fehrmann. I trust that you received exactly what you needed from today's episode, and I love how the universe matched us today. If you enjoy listening and learning with me, please leave a review wherever you are listening to this podcast so that more people can unlock their true selves and ultimately become who they were meant to be using human design. Until next time, lots of love and bye-bye.